is your News Source Evening Bulletin for today, Monday, the 2nd day of March in the year 2020. I'm Gordon Mosley, thanking you for joining us. Here's what we're tracking tonight. It was Elections Day in Guyana, but the polls are now closed and the votes are being tabulated. From the crack of dawn this morning, Guyanese were out in their numbers all across the country to cast their ballots. The voting process appeared rather smoothly in several areas, and there was a large turnout of early voters. On the east coast of the Demerara in the village of Buxton, a young villager, Emma Edwards, said she was happy to be out early to cast her vote.
And this is my second time voting, and it has been as quick and easy as possible, and I really enjoyed the process. So yes, I'm inked.
News Source also spoke to other villagers who are excited about voting early.
It was good by the grace of God, Everything was good, everything normal, everything hope to be everybody come together as one, and we can able to unite and live with love, and good strength and everything. It was good.
Further on the east coast, in the village of Bladenhall, residents praised the process as a smooth one with very little problems.
Going, everybody can communicate. The African and the Indian, everybody communicate and nobody ain't getting no road. That's why I want everything clean. Yeah, everything clean.
Across in the village of Annandale, some persons complained about the slow-moving lines during the early voting hours, which they said was frustrating at times.
The only problem is that I hope that everybody have them chance to vote, because compare other polling station to this polling station, this polling station extra slow. Real slow. Let me tell you, so like every 25-30 minutes, then one person to get through. And maybe that can be one of the thing might create a problem. Hopefully that even though 6 o'clock reach, then work the crowd out.
In the village of Repo, there were 3 polling places located not too far from each other, including a tent that was erected by the Elections Commission. Some of the residents spoke to News Source and explained their decision to be out early and voting.
And the process went very cool this morning. Well, I think GCOM did whatever's been done there is being done in a nice process.
We also took our cameras to the east bank of the Demerara, and in a number of villages, residents were out early and in lines casting their ballot on this election day. And in Georgetown, voters were also out early in large numbers at the various polling places. As we went across the city, we saw persons voting early and getting through the process without any hassle. Many persons were helped to the polls. The city had the largest number of polling places in the country. More news coming up in just a moment.
GBTI is your Guyanese bank, a bank that understands every customer's unique needs, opportunities, challenges, and financial concerns. At GBTI, we see you for you. Whether you're buying a new home or car, planning your next vacation or retirement, saving for your child's future, or whether you're ready to take that bold step of investing in your dream business idea, we are with you every step of the way. We hear your stories and watch you focus on your dreams as we share your aspirations. We are more than just banking. We are a family. We are part of your community. Our commitment extends way beyond the walls of our branches and is demonstrated every day in the opportunities we provide to our individual and business customers. The support, time, and commitment we give back to communities across Guyana to help improve the lives of our Guyanese families. Because we see Guyana through your eyes.
Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive!
They've made a positive impact on the heavy-duty transportation industry in Guyana since they've arrived. Guyanese are amazed at their power, durability, efficiency, and superior handling capabilities. These are brand new trucks, manufactured in partnership with German, Italian, and French companies. They have a powerful reputation for operating under very adverse Guyanese conditions and come with full after-sales service and spare parts. They're the most sought-after trucks today, with over 500 units in Guyana, and they're available in over 100 countries, including South America and the Caribbean. Be smart. Buy brand new ST Howo trucks today. Call 608-4998 and arrange for an inspection at ST Truck Guyana Incorporated, Block B, Public Road, Covenant, East Bank, Demerara.
Welcome back. President David Granger along with First Lady Sandra Granger were first in line at their polling station at Pearl on the east bank of the Demerara this morning to cast their votes. After voting, the president said the process was smooth and efficient.
Voting was without incident. The only problem is that there was a little plastic cap in the ink and it took some time to remove it. But I have a slow hand and I am a patient person, so I waited. And everything went smoothly. The ballot paper had the correct names of the parties, and I expect that we'll have a smooth and successful process here today on Monday the 2nd of March.
President Granger came to power back in 2015, but his government faced a no-confidence motion in 2018 as he battled cancer. The president has since overcome his cancer battle and has been busy on the campaign trail leading the APNU-AFC coalition to the polls. This morning, the president said he is confident that the coalition will be successful at the elections.
I'm very confident that the party which I lead, the coalition which I lead, will be successful. And I'm confident also that the process which has been put in place by the Elections Commission under the chairmanship of Justice Claudette Singh will be efficient. The observers are in the country from all around the world, and Guyana today will demonstrate that it's a democratic country and it is capable of conducting elections efficiently and credibly in accordance with the law and the Constitution.
After wrapping up his voting in the village of Pearl, President David Granger slipped on his party agent cap and visited a number of areas along the east coast and east bank of the Demerara, over on the west Demerara, and also in the city to observe the elections and the process.
I have observed that there is tremendous enthusiasm on the part of the electors. All of the stations that I visited indicate that persons came out very early this morning, literally at 6 o'clock. Everything was in order, the staff was in place, they had all of the materials. I have not received a single complaint in all of the stations I've visited, and I've been visiting stations for nearly 3 hours now. And the staff are aware of their duties and they are performing their duties efficiently.
The president said for the rest of the evening he will be retiring in the bosom of the coalition, awaiting the results of the elections. On the other side, the presidential candidate for the People's Progressive Party Civic Air Finale voted just after 8 o'clock this morning, and he described the process as seamless for him and his wife. Mr. Ali and his wife voted in his hometown of Lenora on the west coast of Demerara. He said he is confident that his party will emerge victorious.
The PPP has always remained peaceful, and our interest is a free and fair process, a free and fair election, and at the end of the day, once we achieve this as a country and as a people, we have to accept the results.
Mr. Ali said from early on he received early reports that some voters were facing some trouble in long lines, and some complained about receiving wrong information about their polling stations at the various polling places.
In some areas, people complain that the information they receive from the desk clerk, the information clerk, the GCOM information clerk is confusing. So we are addressing a lot of that. So later in the day, we'll have a fuller assessment. It's still early as to what is going on there. And the PPP presidential candidate reminded Guyanese that after the polls are closed, Guyanese still all have to live together. We have said from the party level, and myself as presidential candidate, I want to encourage all Guyanese to remain calm, remain peaceful, allow the process to flow, to help other Guyanese, help them to find their polling station, respect each other right, and help each other in exercising their right. At the end of the day, we are Guyanese, we have to live together, we have to build this country together, and we have to move our country forward together. And that is the message. Let us allow the process to work, let us support each other, and let us do so in a peaceful and respectful manner.
Irfan Ali was selected to be the PPP's presidential candidate last year after the party held an in-house voting process among its executive members. Just after his election as the presidential candidate, some supporters of the party expressed their reservations about his candidacy and pointed to the fraud charges that he is facing in the courts and the questions about the legitimacy of his qualifications. Those questions dogged him throughout the campaign season, despite his insistence that the issues were politically motivated. Well, for its part, the Guyana Elections Commission earlier today said that there were only minor hiccups since the opening of polls. At a mid-morning press conference, the Chief Elections Officer Keith Lowenfield said some political parties raised a number of issues with the Elections Commission, and those issues were immediately investigated.
In most of the issues raised by parties, particularly the agents of parties, they were corrected at all locations. I visited in and around South Georgetown, and I proceeded as far as Crane on the west side.
He said one of the issues that was raised was in relation to information clerks who were tasked with assisting voters to find their polling stations at the polling places.
So as the issues emerged, and I'm sure during the course of the day, as to what is, efforts will be made to resolve those issues. And I'm sure as far as the issue of the information clerks, by now they would have been no doubt gotten into their stride and ensure there is a smooth flow that ensures that at the end of the day, all electors listed at all the polling stations would have been afforded an opportunity to exercise their franchise.
The chairperson of the Guyana Elections Commission, retired Justice Claudette Singh, said she had the opportunity to visit several polling places after casting her ballot this morning. The tabulation of the election results has started. Let's tell you now that more than 40 observers representing 15 countries were out today covering the 10 administrative regions for the Carter Center. In Georgetown, the co-leaders of the Carter Center delegation, Jason J. Carter and former Prime Minister of Senegal, Aminata Touré, spoke about the voting process early on.
The Carter Center, as you know, has observed elections in Guyana for many years. This is our 5th election observation mission starting in 1992. We are here collecting information. Today we've been here for several months observing the process. We have teams in every single region in Guyana today, and so in the next few days we'll be collecting those reports and we'll be issuing recommendations with respect to this election. And so we are honored to be here. We are honored to be invited. My family, as you know, has a very personal connection to this country. We're committed to this democracy, and we've seen even so far today that the people of Guyana are also committed to their democracy, and that's an exciting moment.
Well, as you know, we do have more than 40 observers. Some time came before as long-time observers. They're in the 10 regions, so we are waiting to get their reports before being very specific to you. In 2 days, we're going to be issuing our report when we have comprehensive information coming from them.
The Carter Center officials said they noticed long lines and short lines and persons going through the process. The Carter Center officials witnessed the opening of polls and were also out observing polling. And they were back at the closing of polls at 6 o'clock. They have indicated that they will compile a report after receiving reports from their representatives across the regions.
Yeah, we are operating separately so we can cover more ground and make sure we're getting into everywhere that we can get to. But we've seen some places with long lines and some places with short lines. And so again, there's it's clear that there is an excitement and it's clear that people are showing up and interested in exercising their right to vote. And what some of the places have had some folks getting frustrated with long lines, and some of the places have had people voting very quickly. So we've seen it all so far today, even in the short period of time we've had so far.
Meanwhile, former Prime Minister of Barbados Owen Hart, who is heading the Commonwealth Observer team to Guyana, said based on his early observations of the polls, the process was moving smoothly and orderly.
I know it is still early. From everything that we have just seen thus far, it would appear as though the elections are being conducted in an orderly fashion. I say from what we have thus far seen. So we'll be continuing our observer functions during the course of the day.
The Commonwealth Observer Mission is expected to make a preliminary statement next Tuesday. A final report will follow that. The Commonwealth Mission is just one of the many missions of international observers invited by the government to oversee the Guyana elections. Late this afternoon, police were called to the Repo area after reports surfaced about attempts at voting irregularities. Party agents from the major parties also hurried across to the area and the Repo Primary School. APNU and AFC party agents Amna Ali and Basil Williams were seen in a conversation with PPP party agent Anil Nandlal.
Well, one of the issues is, Mr. Nandlal, is why ID cards got to be held by a central person and distributed at another point.
I mean, all the overseas,
where
was that done?
Hold on.
Where was that
It is alleged that you've been distributing ID cards.
I was called here to resolve. I was called here that a group of
I'm
persons.
telling you that it was alleged that you were distributing.
Well, that is not
ID
so,
cards.
madam. I was asked to come here because of a crowd gathering, and I came.
Look.
And when I came, I walked into a crowd of allegations.
The technician and let them check again. Because Mr. Nandlal said it's not here on the screen.
Me on the screen.
Ensure that they check and see.
Yeah, you.
If it's not another Anil Nandlal, because safe to be safe players to be.
I mean, why do we have to have people at Strasbourg, for example, changing jerseys from one to the next? What's going on?
Where? You're telling me things that I don't know where.
No,
where that happened? What part of class?
Anil, your name calling.
Primary school.
Bro, your name calling.
As reports of the alleged irregularities spread, persons from the village came out in their numbers, and the Guyana police force called out reinforcement to maintain order outside the polling place. Later this afternoon, Mr. Nandlal returned and said he was trying to get a young man from the community to vote because his name was mistakenly struck off by the presiding officer when someone else from the same area who shares the same name voted. Nandlal claimed that the presiding officer and all of the polling agents for the various parties, including his, would have to take blame since they all made the same mistake.
The issue is, how does GCOM correct its mistake? And that is the issue. I was, yes, they all made a mistake. I drew it to Mr. Gonraj's attention. He raised it in Mr. Lowenfield. This is not an isolated incident. They arrived at a decision today on how to deal with this matter. Apparently it occurred at several instances throughout the country. They arrived at a principle. I am told that the RO was instructed to implement the principle and resolve the matter in favor of the voter.
He also claimed that he heard of several other instances in other parts of the country and has raised his concern with the Elections Commission. Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the PPP, Jagdeo, also did a social media address denying the allegations of the PPP's involvement in any attempts at voting irregularities. The APNU-AFC responded to his statements by saying that they have reports of the fraudulent efforts, and those reports have been made known to the Guyana Elections Commission. Across the Region is coming up next.
We are legions of men standing strong, but never too proud to stoop and help someone. We must send a clear signal to all. Do right. Walk in upright ways, knowing that's what being a man is all about. And ever aware that things will only get worse when good men do nothing. Stand strong. Be the one to live right.
Falls, a trademark of China's Zhanghao Incorporated, located at Land of Cane and East Bank, Demerara, was incorporated in April of 2013 with over $10 billion Guyana dollars invested in a state-of-the-art 100,000 barrel fuel storage facility, a modern service station, an office complex, and a modern wharf that can berth international vessels. Having no association with any other fuel company, Falls imports its own fuel, which meets quality specifications, has all the legal permits, and is in compliance with international requirements. Its bulk facility can load 8 trucks simultaneously at a rate of 1,000 liters per minute, while the service station can service 12 cars at a time using computerized fuel pumps, which can facilitate the use of ATM cards. Through its professional team of mostly Guyanese, Falls wholesales and retails fuels to the public, including farmers and miners, and will continue to positively contribute to Guyana by providing quality products, service, and attractive prices. Try Falls today for all your fuel needs.
Across the region right now, the government of St. Lucia says it will prosecute people engaged in spreading false information about the novel coronavirus as the island moves to adopt measures to prevent any occurrence of the virus, which has killed nearly 3,000 persons globally. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia spoke to reporters and said that the government is exploring every single thing and does not want anyone to believe that they have a coronavirus case in St. Lucia. According to the Prime Minister, the government has adopted the practice that the Chief Medical Officer and her delegates are the only persons to speak on any technical issue related to the coronavirus. He said the Prime Minister's office will also be used to keep the public updated on the virus for which there is no known vaccine. In Argentina, the country's President Alberto Fernandez has said that he will send a bill to legalize abortion to Congress within the next 10 days. Mr. Fernandez, who was sworn in as president back in December, has previously described abortion as a matter of public health. In Argentina, abortion is allowed only in cases of rape or if the mother's health is in danger. It is largely prohibited across Latin America, except in restricted cases. If the bill is passed, Argentina will become the largest country in the region to legalize abortion. And finally, tonight, international news. The world is in uncharted territory on the coronavirus outbreak, according to the World Health Organization. The WHO today said doctors had never before seen a respiratory pathogen capable of community transmission. Deaths globally have now passed 3,000. Most are in China, but in the past day, there were 9 times more new infections outside China than inside. One of the countries worst affected outside China is Italy. On Monday, Italy saw a jump in its death toll from 34 to 52. And that's your News Source Evening Bulletin for tonight. I'm Gordon Mosley, reporter.